Welcome to part two, where I turn this hobby grade CNC into a furniture workstation. I'm going to be building a chair, and I'm going to take you through all the processes that I did with the CNC to build that chair. If you haven't watched part one, I suggest you go and watch it now, because I explain all the different areas that I created on this CNC. You can rest easy on this video. I'm not going to try and sell you any rando products that I've been sent throughout the month, but something else has actually happened. CNC Labs, the creator of this CNC, the Long Mill Mark II, and there's more CNCs in their lineup now. They reached out to me and they want me to be an affiliate partner. So what that means as an affiliate, there's a link that you can purchase the Long Mill or an Alt Mill or any of their products right down to a bit on their website. And if you click on that link and you go buy something, then it'll track that and give me a small commission. And that helps me keep this channel going. Actually, I had a long conversation with them on the phone, and I really believe in this company. Obviously, I wish they would just send me free product to review, but they don't do that. They just try and partner with people. Due to the nature of today's internet and internet browsers, etc., even if you click through and sort of buy it right then, sometimes the tracking doesn't work because there's pop-up blockers or cookie tracking blockers or whatever. So after you purchase, there's actually a very short survey. If you do all this, and I thank you very much if you do, then just mention my name. Mention that you were made aware of the CNC through a Canadian woodworker on YouTube. I'll make this quick. I just can't recommend these CNCs enough. They really have hit that magical combination of price, performance, size, and above all, they just really want your user experience to be excellent. They've done so many things just absolutely correct with these builds. It's just an excellent company. I really believe in them, their philosophy, and it's one of the only companies I'm 100% behind. Let's get on with the build video and we'll finish making this chair. Process: the legs. The leg stock for this chair is 30 inches long and 1.5 inches thick. To achieve this thickness with 1-inch stock, I laminate two pieces together. After the glue dries, I joint two reference edges at the jointer. I then use the bandsaw to cut off excess and achieve the final thickness on the planer. After I have the squared and dimensioned pieces, I cut them to 30 inches on the table saw. Before I mount them on the lathe duplicator, I have to prepare the ends to be mounted. For mounting on the lathe headstock, I used a custom 1/2 inch 13 nut made out of plywood. I mount the pieces on the CNC's vertical area and cut the guides that I'll later use for attaching the nut. I tap the hole and then use that as a guide for attaching the headstock nut. All in all, between the laminating, careful dimensioning, and headstock preparation, this process takes a while. The trade-off is, with the CNC, I'm virtually assured a perfect leg in the end. So I think it's worth it. The final process is to mark the center for the tailstock. Then I'm finally ready to mount the stock on the lathe duplicator area of the CNC. I'll include a link to another video here where I show the design process for the leg, creating the G-code, and also how I set the origin point for the cut. CNCs are an exercise in same. You want to feed the machine with exactly the same thing every single time. This is where the careful preparation pays off. The results will be perfectly repeatable. I hook up dust collection and then execute the cut in one single pass. I'm using a 1/4 inch round over bit, and I found that creates the best surface.
After the leg is complete, I'll check the critical area at the top of the cut, which will later form a tenon that goes into the backrest. The resulting leg is usually almost close to perfect with no tear out. There's just sort of a fine texture from the slow helical pass that I did. The final process is mounting the leg on a higher speed lathe for sanding. This lathe has the same half-inch 13 headstock, so the interchange is very easy. I like to use a Milwaukee detail sander with a soft pad to wrap around the curve of the leg. I usually only use 2 grits, 120 and 180. Afterwards, I'll examine the legs for the most pleasing grain for the front faces of the chair and mark the appropriate side for the mortise, which later attaches to the chair rails. Here I am marking the location of the rail mortise. Now onto carving the mortises. For this process, I've created a clamping jig that holds the leg firmly and also allows access to the area to be mortised. I've also got a system for a stop block at the base of the leg, which allows me to place the leg blank repeatedly in the same position. I used the leftover bit of square stock at the top of the leg for 2 things. 1, to hold the leg down, and then 2, to create a 90-degree reference for when I have to make another mortise at that angle. I use 2 squares to find the absolute top of the leg. Then I find the origin center with a pointed bit, and finally replace that with a downcut 1/4 inch bit. Downcut is important here as I want the edges of the tenon to be perfectly sharp and pristine. For the 2 back legs, I'll make a secondary round mortise for a back brace. As I said before, all I have to do is flip the piece onto its side to achieve 2 mortises at perfect 90-degree angles. This is another example of good preparation paying off in the end. Back at the secondary lathe, I'll do a final round over on the bottom of the leg, and then if the top tenon needs to be brought closer to its target of 20 millimeters here, I'll finesse that element as well. Process: the seat. The seat blank is much simpler to create. I simply cut a piece of 1/2 inch MDF to size and then mount it on the pattern area of the CNC. The first thing to do is mark the center. Then I double-sided tape the MDF to the CNC bed, being careful to set it as square as I can. The pattern is cut very quickly. I cut the tabs and then clean up the blank at the workbench. The last thing to do is round over the top edge to prepare for the upholstery phase. Assembly. Now I can do the last tasks before final assembly. The first is sanding the surfaces and cleaning up any burn marks from the router table. I attach some small tabs that will later hold the seat in place. Then I chamfer and prepare the tenons for easier entry into the mortises during glue up. I like to cut small channels into the tenons to prevent any hydraulic lock from the glue. Finally, I cut the heads off the legs at the bandsaw. Glue up begins. First, the front leg assembly, then the rear rails. I make sure all the components are seating squarely as I move through the assembly. Finally, the rear leg brace and rear legs. At the end, I can attach the armrest. The main assembly is now complete. Now I can attach the seat blank and make sure the legs are level. My workbench is also a reference surface for flatness. If the legs are out of level slightly, I can tape some sandpaper down to the surface and even them out. Upholstery is fairly straightforward. I spray glue some 1/2 inch foam to the seat blank and then cut a piece of vinyl about 2 inches larger on each side. The vinyl is attached with staples, and this is a great time to use a pneumatic staple gun. I attach vinyl to the top and then a thin piece of fabric at the back to cover the original vinyl staples. This marks the first moment where I can sit test the chair and make sure it's stable and comfortable. I remove the seat and do the final sanding. For this pass, I only use a fine grit of sandpaper. Some of the fibers have been raised from the wet cloth used to wipe away excess glue during glue up, so I knock those down. When it's all perfect, the final thing to do before finishing oil is blowing all the dust out of the oak pores using an air compressor. I find using an air compressor is much faster, easier, and much more thorough than using a vacuum or a tack cloth. With that, the chair is complete. I attach the seat for the last time and take a few nice photographs from various angles. Then I can list it for sale.
So that's it for this build, and here's the finished product right here. Adding the CNC to my building processes has caused me to think about things in quite a different way. Now I can sort of think in how the machine functions the best, and what it can do, and especially activate all the creativity that would be very, very demanding using other types of jigs. I can really just plan it out in a digital idea and know that I can mount things in a certain way and execute it. And I can make mistakes too. I can make revisions, make alterations, and sneak up on things. And the more I work with it, the more I'm convinced that it's just a really excellent tool for furniture making and whatever capacity you use it in. This build will be very helpful to me because usually a month down the line after I do something, I actually forget how I did it. So I'm gonna come back and watch this a couple times too, probably in the near future, just to see how I did things. Hopefully this is helpful to you. And if it was, please consider subscribing to the channel. And thank you for watching.